When we think about this, what we've just discussed, which is this domestic violence piece of a relationship, and you and I are not working, and we've chosen to separate, to divorce and get out of this. There are differences in what this looks like. Lots of times when couples are divorcing, and they're highly conflicted, they're not resolving the problems associated with visitation and the children and the property and the money and that kind of stuff. Lots of times, though, they have not necessarily had any physical violence. It doesn't mean the emotional stuff's not going on, because we've been having arguments. A lot of that is, but they may not have had any of the physical stuff. Or they may have, but they haven't reported it. I find that quite a bit too when I talk to people. It's there, I didn't say anything, I've decided this isn't working, I'm leaving. Okay, so they show up, I talk to them, and they're divorcing. When we look at the domestic issues, it really centers around my attempt to control you. When we look at parents that are divorcing, it resolves around parenting issues, it resolves around money, it resolves around our disagreements about what we're going to do, usually with the kids, and how they're going to be taken care of, and we can't agree on that. When we look at us as a divorcing or a separating couple, lots of times we have different ideas about how we should parent. It's been part of our issue. I never agreed that the kids should just stay up and do whatever they wanted for however long they wanted. They need a set bedtime. Meanwhile, I have another parent over there that's kind of fluffy about it and lets the kids do whatever they want, and they run wild, and we have different ways of dealing with our children and different ways that we would like to see things run. In the domestic issue, it isn't about the kids at all. The kids are a pawn. That's where they come in. It sounds very cold, but the controlling parent really doesn't care about the kids. They care about staying in contact with you and keeping you under their thumb by using the kids to do so. You see how different this dynamic is? In terms of divorcing parents, they oftentimes are in civil court, because this is a civil matter. We have this piece of paper, or we have this, in Florida, you live together and we don't do common law here, but in the court's eyes, you have cohabitated, and so you have rights as partners. So we have to divide up the children. We have to come to some agreement, and we'll be in the civil court, whether we're filing on our own because we can amicably do this. We've decided this is what we want it to look like, and the judge has to look at it and say it's okay. When you're highly conflicted, that hasn't happened. We have lots of issues we haven't been able to resolve. I don't think you're being fair. You don't think I'm being fair. And so now we're in civil court, either trying to be by ourselves. I have people that don't hire attorneys and try to go into civil court, and that's really tough. I have people that go with their attorneys who file motions and attempt to talk to the judges and get things worked out for the two people who really cannot talk to each other about any of the issues that they have going on. And it really usually stays civil there. And it tends to stay in the system a long time. In our system right now, for a high conflict family, most cases go 18 months before they actually have much going for them, action taken, and they may not close for 24 to 30 months because it's that backed up. In the domestic side, domestic violence lots of times in the family is that secret that goes on. I as the person maybe that's not the violent one, have not said anything to protect the kids, to protect the family, maybe to protect you for a while. And so when finally some incident happens and I decide to take action and I call the police, or the neighbor calls the police, or the kids call the police, now the secret is out. And when the police come, this becomes a criminal matter. No longer in civil, now we're in criminal court. And so a judge is going to look at the incident that occurred and is going to make a decision about, does it go to trial? How do you plead? And you get to plead in these. I didn't do nothing, innocent, or guilty, or I'm willing to take some kind of a diversion. We do that too. So you end up in criminal, and usually you'll end up on some kind of supervision with the criminal court for 6 to 12 months. That's a lot less than this civil side over here. Things may not get resolved though. Okay, because this couple that's violent isn't necessarily ending it. This can go on. It's a pattern, and it can go on for years, and there can be multiple incidences before one of us has enough or one of us is dead. So those are the differences between those two types of things. High conflict parents that are getting out of the relationship tend to be a little more focused on settling the child matters. Where there's a domestic violence, power and control issue, the controlling partner is more focused on keeping the other partner under their thumb, under their control.